What is up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans? It's your old friend IndyCar Tim here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Daily Blitz. Breaking news out of Tampa this morning, out of One Bucs Place, as the team has extended the contracts of Coach Todd Bowles and General Manager Jason Licht. Now, I've already gotten a lot of text messages, emails, questions on social media about this. What does it mean? Well, clearly Todd Bowles deserved a contract extension, right? His performance since taking over in 2014 has clearly, especially the second half of his tenure here, has warranted a contract extension. A lot of people don't necessarily agree with the Bowles deal, but there are deeper things at work here than, is Todd Bowles a good coach? Is Todd Bowles the guy to lead the Bucs to the Super Bowl? There's more important things here, I think, than just, did Bowles deserve a contract extension? Because I will tell you, on the surface, I agree with those that say he did not. I don't think you extend Bowles based on his past performance as a reward. I don't think he's that great of a coach. I think he's got some huge flaws. And we've talked about it on this show. We've talked about it on the J.P. Peterson show. So then why? Why are you doing this now? Well, it's the final year of his deal. And that is the key factor in all of this. First of all, let's get to the statement by the team. The team said, quote, Jason and Todd's leadership has been crucial for our organization's success. The winning culture they have established has us well positioned for the future. The continuity and stability they provide will play a large role in our ability to compete for additional championships, end quote. The key word there, boys and girls, is continuity and stability. I guess that's two key words. Sorry. But the key word of those is continuity. We have preached continuity on this team for years, and that is part of the reason they have had such success. Well, that's weird, Tim, because they've had now 4 different offensive coordinators in the course of 4 seasons. That is correct. However, those new offensive coordinators that have come in, and now Josh Grizzard, who was with the team last year, didn't make a ton of changes to the offense. They did not retool, rework, restructure the offense, the terminology, the scheme by any stretch. Dave Canales made maybe the most changes. Liam Cohen came in and made some tweaks. Josh Grizzard will, by large, continue what Liam Cohen started last season. And this is all about continuity. So the extension lengths, I think, are important. Todd Bowles has been extended for 3 seasons. He will now be there through the 2028 season. That was reported by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. We know he is entering his 4th season as the team's head coach. He's got a 27-24 record, and he has won 3 of the team's 4 consecutive NFC South titles from 2022 to 2024. Of course, 2021 was also a division title, but that was under Arians. They're also, beginning in 2020 with the Super Bowl season, in their 5th season in a row, or just finished their 5th season in a row of postseason appearances, including the Super Bowl in 2020 with Tom Brady. Bowles also released a statement in response. He said, quote, I am excited to continue working with Jason for years to come as we build on the success we've enjoyed and kept reaching for even bigger and better goals. My family loves Tampa, and we're looking forward to delivering more great moments for our fans in the coming seasons. End quote. So this, to me, let's get into Licht first. Jason Licht right now is the 5th longest tenured general manager, entering his 12th season with the Bucs. Of course, we know the Bucs were 10-7 last season. They lost to the Washington Commanders in an inexplicable home wildcard game loss. I know the Commanders went on to win the or to appear in the NFC Championship game for the first time in their franchise history since 1991. I think the Bucs were a better team at that point of the season. I think there were some questionable coaching decisions there. We know there was a turnover. Again, I blame that on the defense. The Bucs had 7 offensive possessions in the whole game. That was a failure by Todd Bowles' defense. But we know under Todd Licht, the Bucs, of course, won the Super Bowl. They've drafted players, very key players to the organization. By the way, Licht is a very underrated, especially the last half of his tenure here in Tampa, very underrated general manager. He flies under the radar quite a bit. He's drafted Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield Jr., Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Kalijah Cansey, Cade Otton, Graham Barton, Luke Gedeke, Coney Mock, just a lot more. Those are all players that they're key. They lead the NFL. The team leads the NFL in total snaps and starts by homegrown drafted players in rounds 1 through 5 since Licht got here. Now, what does that mean if that was a confusing statement? That means of all the teams that have drafted in rounds 1 through 5 since 2014, all 32 teams, that means the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the most total snaps and starts by players they drafted in rounds 1 through 5. What does that mean? That means that they draft well, basically, and they keep the guys that they drafted. Clearly, there have been some exceptions. But for the most part, rounds 1 through 5, you want to look at, those are your key components, usually in the draft. 6 and 7, meh. Some teams don't even consider 5 to be that important, but Jason Licht does. Jason Licht also released a statement. He says, quote, "I am very grateful to the Glazer family for the trust and belief they have shown in what we are doing here. I'm also very excited to continue working alongside Todd well into the future as we continue our mission of finding and developing talented players and chasing additional championships for our fans." End quote. So, look, we know Todd Bowles served as the defensive coordinator before being promoted to head coach. The team's defense had ranked among the NFL's best since 2019, leading the NFL in rushing defense, opponents' yards per carry, fumble recoveries, placing second in sacks, and 5th in red zone efficiency. While he was the defensive coordinator. Since taking over as head coach, I feel like his defenses have taken a huge U-turn. We know last season the defense was in question. And yes, they dealt with some injuries. But I think Bowles' unit was clearly, as the offense became a top 3, top 5 unit, depending on what statistical category you're looking at, either top 3 or top 5 in most of those categories. The defense struggled, especially with pass rush, especially with turnovers. The secondary struggled. Again, I know there were injuries, but just questionable coaching decisions by Todd Bowles. Look, he's 53 and 65 overall as a head coach. We know he was with the Jets, of course, before that. He went 24 and 40 in New York, so we're throwing that in with his Bucs record. I don't think that this extension for Todd Bowles had anything to do with, hey, you've done a great job. We love what you're doing here. Here's 3 more years. I don't think that is what happened. Again, we're talking continuity and stability. This roster is at a position right now where they're ready to compete for an NFC championship game. They're ready to compete for a Super Bowl. There's some key components that were added on the defense. You look at Hassan Reddick. You look in the draft. Also, you kept Levante David, talked him out of retirement. He's back for his 14th season. Hassan Reddick was signed. I think he's going to be a key component of the defense in the pass rush. You got guys like Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish in the draft. They're going to be key components in the secondary this year. You're hopefully going to have a healthy Antoine Winfield. You're going to have a healthy Servassier Dennis. This team defensively, and you brought all 11 starters back on offense, and you added Emeka Egbuka through the draft. Bucky Irving's going into his second year. Rachaad White is still here. You still have that running back tandem. Don't forget about Sean Tucker. Your wide receiver core is going to be incredible once Godwin comes back from his injury. This team, this roster is poised for a run. Jason Licht knows it. The Glazers know it. The last thing they need is to go into 2025 with Todd Bowles not under contract beyond that year, because that is a huge talking point in the media. It's a distraction for the coach. It's a distraction for the players, because all they get asked about in press conferences, oh, what do you think about the future of your coach, Todd Bowles? Is he going to be back next year? They don't need to be worrying about that. And now they won't be. You want a good example? Look at the 2024 Dallas Cowboys with Mike McCarthy in a lame duck season with no contract beyond last year. That is all anyone in Dallas talked about. That is all anyone in the national media talked about, was Mike McCarthy's contract situation. The Glazers don't need that. The Bucs don't need that. That's a distraction. Now you have Bowles under contract. You have Light under contract. Nothing to talk about. Now, job stability is different. They come out of the gate 2-6 or something, well then, yeah, that's a different story. I don't see that happening. But Todd Bowles right now is under contract. Jason Licht's under contract. That is not a distraction for this team. They are good to go. Let's focus on football. Let's focus on winning the South for an unprecedented fifth time in a row. No one's ever done that. 4 is the record. They just tied that with the 4 that the Saints had from 2017 to 2019, 2016 to 2019, or 2020, 17 to 20. 4 is the record. Let's go for a 5th. And, hey, while we're at it, let's win the NFC Championship game, and let's go to the Super Bowl. That is where this roster is poised, and the last thing the Glazers, Jason Licht, Todd Bowles players needed was a distraction. This is not a distraction. It's done. I don't have a problem with it. 3 years, that doesn't mean if he fails next year they can't fire him. They're just going to eat some money. And we don't know what the dollar amount is for that. It could be, 3 years, $7 million a year, $4 million. I don't know what his contract is. They haven't released that. But I guarantee you it's going to be an amount that the Glazers would be comfortable eating if he fails next year. Just because he has been extended, do not think he has the most job security here, because he could get fired still. Happens all the time. Yeah, I believe that's exactly what's happening here, and I don't have a problem with it at all. I still think it's a good move. Let's get the distraction talk out of the way, and let's go win something this year in 2025. Baker could have another career year. Again, we talked about the players on the roster. It's not going to be a distraction anymore. I think it's good news. But what do you guys think? Reach out to me at IndyCar Tim on social media. You can also use the FanStream Sports Studio text line 214-937-0569. We would love to hear from you. Tell us who you are, where you're texting from, and what you think about the Bowles and Light contract extensions. We'll read it on the next show, make you part of the next show. What do you think about the Bucs season? Let me hear from you. Let's engage in the chat here underneath the YouTube video. Talk to me on X. Let's do it, boys and girls. How excited are you for the Bucs in 2025? I'd love to hear from you. I'm IndyCar Tim. We'll do it again on the next episode of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Daily Blitz right here on FanStream Sports. Until then, boys and girls, we'll see ya.